Absolutely not. That's the one thing I will not do, is deny my faith just because of a particular sponsor might not like the way I express my faith, which I do on my own time. Race weekends, I usually find a church and go share my testimony, and I'm not willing to hide my Christianity.
That's Blake Koch of the number 41 car Nationwide Series, making it very clear that his faith is the most important thing in his life. And we're very excited to have him on Sold Out Sports Talk on AFR Talk. He's in his second year on the Nationwide Tour. Last year, a great year for a first-time guy. 17th, he finished 17th, his best finish at Phoenix. Earned four top 20 finishes in 2011, and of course he's got high expectations for his career. And we were just talking to him about the fact that he started racing at the age of 22, which is absolutely incredible to start in a series like this with the competition when many of them start at such an early age. And when did you decide, Blake, to make that decision about going to the four-wheel racing and to the cars? What got you interested in that? Because it sounded like you were very established as a motocross racer.
Yeah, I mean, motocross was my life growing up. You know, I wanted to be a professional motocross racer. I lived, dreamed, and ate it. You know what I mean? Like, everything I lived for was to be just the best I could be on a dirt bike. And what comes with that sport is a lot of injuries. And you know, with football, I mean, injuries are something that sets you back a long time, especially with a physically demanding sport. When I had 2 ACL surgeries, 2 ACL replacements, which set you back, you know, 2 to 4 months at a time, and with all the therapy. And when you come back, you know, people that you used to lap on the racetrack are now winning races and are faster than you, and you just fall behind so quick. And that's what separates a lot of the different riders in the sport, is their ability to stay healthy and stay in shape and stay on their game. And that just wasn't my situation. I was, I started having multiple injuries one after another, and it was just setting me back too much. And I just felt led to give up racing motocross and go to college, and I did that. And throughout college, I had the opportunity to get in a race car. My stepdad called me and said he was going to buy one, and if I wanted to drive it, I had an opportunity to do so, and I took advantage of it. And I had a great time. It was just awesome.
Blake Koch, the number 41 team, getting ready for the O'Reilly Auto Parts 300 at Texas Speedway this week on ESPN Saturday. And he is very excited, of course, to be out there in the Nationwide Series. And, you know, one of the things I wanted you to clarify for us was Baker Racing is basically your team, but tell me about the Richard Childress driver development team that they chose you and some other racers. How does Richard Childress go about that decision, and tell me about how that came about? Yeah,
well, I started. I move fast. You know what I mean? When I want to do something, it has to be done now. You know what I mean? And I understand that sometimes things don't happen the way we want them to happen in our time, but that doesn't mean you can't try to make it happen. So I got on the phone after a couple races in a stock car. I won my first truck race, and I thought I was ready to go NASCAR racing. You know what I mean? So I started calling NASCAR teams and asking them if they had any openings in their development program. And a development program is just when a team takes on a young driver and develops them into possibly the next NASCAR champion, you know. And I ran into the Richard Childress driver development team in California. It's called Golden Gate Racing Team. And they said that they actually had an opportunity for me in their championship race in 2008 to race that race and to see how I would do. And I went there. I qualified fourth. Out-qualified the primary driver at the time. And after that race, they signed me full-time for 2009 and finished 8th in points, runner-up rookie of the year in 2009. And 2010 went back with them on a partial schedule with a nationwide start and an ARCA start. And had some success in all of those starts. In 2011, finished a runner-up rookie of the year again in the NASCAR Nationwide Series. And here I am in 2012 with a full-time ride. And just completely blessed to be here. Just, you know, even after qualifying, I just thank God for the opportunity just to run even one lap on one of these racetracks in front of these fans with a sport like NASCAR. Just completely blessed.
Blake Koch is our guest on Sold Out Sports Talk on AFR Talk, the number 41 car, and he's going to kick it off O'Reilly Auto Parts this weekend, Texas Speedway, so you can catch him on ESPN. Also, Facebook, Blake K Racing, and Twitter at Blake KOC Racing. Blake Koch, Koch, BlakeKoch.com, where you can catch him for everything on his website. And I talked to his manager, really like him, JP, who handles his PR and all the marketing things that go on for him. And, of course, he's got an email address and a phone number if you want to catch up with this young man. And, of course, I know you have a love for the sport. You have to do this. You guys are on the racetrack 9-10 months a year, well, 11 months a year actually when you look at the schedule. But one of the things I've always thought about that's intrigued me about NASCAR, and you're going to laugh at this, but people always talk about the fact that MRO, Motor Racing Outreach, is such a huge influence on the NASCAR circuit in terms of providing Bible studies, providing spiritual growth opportunities for racers and their wives. And, of course, you're married with a baby on the way. And I got to know Jeff Gordon when he was young in his career, and some of the other guys, Tony Stewart and others that were out there that were younger back 15 years ago or so. And one of the things that I heard from a lot of the racers is what a great influence MRO is. And a lot of people say, well, man, more than the other sports, you guys have a chaplain or a pastor that prays, in front of everybody on national TV with a microphone, the flags waving everywhere, military everywhere to be seen. It's a faith and family-based sport. But what's funny is I was talking to my wife, she said, and I know she said, well, why did they do that? I said, well, I was just thinking, even if you weren't a Christian, you knew you were going to go in a race car going 200 miles an hour, 2 inches hitting each other, going around corners. Maybe you might want to say a prayer. That would probably be a good idea, right?
Absolutely, man. But you're right. MRO has such a big influence on our families, on our personal life, to the fans. Just completely blessed for having an organization like MRO available to us. And you can go to their website. It's go to MRO.com, the number 2. And any support there is greatly appreciated. And it's just, it's awesome. I don't know anything else to say about just how awesome it is to have that kind of support at a racetrack and in your sport. And we were talking how, even if you're not a Christian, you still want that prayer to make sure that someone's watching over you when you're that close to the wall going that fast. It's pretty funny.
Blake Koch is our guest, the number 41 car nationwide. And believe me, everybody, I've always wanted to ask a NASCAR racer exactly what I just asked him, because I laugh whenever I think about, well, you'd have to be kind of dumb not to say a prayer before doing that. I mean, come on. When I played football, saying a prayer, everybody liked to do that, even if they weren't a Christian, because they knew somebody was going to try to crush them for 60 minutes. But, that's the beauty of their sport, is it moves fast. And I want you to do me a favor. We're running out of time. I want to ask you some fast questions, because I want people to hear as much as they can about you. Short questions, short answers. Let's really hit this hard with Blake Koch. And, of course, if you want more information, BlakeKoch.com is the place to go, Koch. All right. Respond to these questions. I got a quote for you, and this is your own quote from your website. It says, your ambition is to promote God back into the American family and encourage everyone to rise up and register to vote. Talk to me about the message you like to give to young people when you go into church.
It's an easy message. It's put God first in your life. Pray about the decisions you make. A short, quick prayer that I start my day off with is, God, just take control of my heart, my mind, and in my actions. God, just put me in the situations that you want me in. Open the doors you want to open, and shut the doors you want shut. And that's pretty simply said, of just basically take control.
We're here at Sold Out Youth Ministries are all about one thing, using the passion of sports to engage young people to be all they can be and to reach their maximum potential for the Lord, who gave them the talents and abilities that they have. One of the things that you see when you go into schools and when you talk to young people today is there's a lack of hope. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, I mean, there's a battle. I'm sure you're well aware of the spiritual battle that we all see and all go through. And the more that athletes like myself can get out there and be a spiritual influence, an inspirational influence, the better. Giving kids hope is one of the most important things that we can do. I mean, these kids are the next generation. Some of them are running our country in 30 years, and some of them will be very influential people when it's their time. And so to get a hold of them now, let them know that there is hope. There's power in prayer, and they can do anything that they put their mind towards, especially when you put God first in your life.
We're talking the number 41 driver, Blake Koch, Nationwide Series. Okay, tell me about Jeff Gordon. What is it about Jeff Gordon that makes him such a special racer? And was there a racer in your life that you grew up wanting to be like when you decided to go with four wheels?
Well, to answer your question about Jeff Gordon, I don't know him personally, but he is an awesome driver. I mean, you can watch him at places like Martinsville where you have to drive that track, and he's just amazing to watch. And I would love the opportunity to sit down with him one day and just pick his brain on some of his racing knowledge. And maybe one day that will happen. But it's just he's great. And as far as growing up, looking at a particular racer, the first NASCAR race I watched wasn't until 2007. I really didn't grow up watching NASCAR. Like I said, I was a full-on motocross guy with that dream, and fell in love with NASCAR in 2007. And I thought Clint Boyer was the guy that I was looking at because he came from dirt bikes. He came from the motocross background just like I was. So that was kind of the person that I was like, man, if he can make it happen from dirt bikes, I can make it happen. So he was kind of like that guy that I kept my eye on.
Boyer's a great guy to watch. I tell you what, he is aggressive, and he's definitely come on here in the last 2 years and a threat on the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. We're talking to Blake Koch, and you need to go to BlakeKoch.com because Blake is one of those guys who likes to use his platform and understands how important it is, and he wants to come to speak to your church. And we have an American Family Radio audience out here who is a lot of faith-based and church-going people. So go to his website at BlakeKoch.com. That's K-O-C-H. And he's got numbers in the contact there. So if you want him to come speak to your school, your Upward banquet, to preach at your church, to give his testimony, to come to your church youth camp, or whatever you want to do, this guy wants to do it. So make sure that you make the call. And I'm calling on our American Family audience to do that. Blake, first of all, thanks for coming in. Appreciate you so much in what you're doing, and we're going to continue to watch you and support you out there as we look and you continue to progress in your career. Really appreciate the opportunity to have you in today.
Oh, thank you so much, man. I really appreciate all your support.
Blake Koch, he will be at the O'Reilly Auto Parts 300 at Texas Speedway. BlakeKoch.com, K-O-C-H. Facebook him at Blake K Racing. And remember, get your youngster out there to vote. 18 and above. RiseUpAndRegister.com, one of his sponsors out there. Support Blake, Nationwide Series number 41. When we come back, more on Sold Out.